Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I am not doing a planner video, and that should come as no surprise as I have not done one in months. There really hasn't been a whole lot to plan. However, I do think I'm going to start doing some plant videos. So, hold that. So today I'm going to be sharing an experience that I had with LECA. So LECA is just a clay ball or irregular shape like this one. This was the only type I could find. And it is a replacement for soil. And one of the reasons that I decided to go soilless was because I was getting a ton of fungus gnats, a ton, because let's say I started off quarantine with 49 plants, I believe, and let's just say I have a lot more than that now. So with the expansive amount of plants that I had been purchasing, I just realized that I wanted to do something that was a little less messy, wouldn't have as many pests. So yeah, I started off using LECA in the very beginning of June, and I'm just going to be sharing my experience with one of my plants, and it's not the best experience, which is why I'm going to start with this one. So again, I just started this 2 months ago, and so I am no expert. I watched a few YouTube videos, and there's not a lot out there, which is why I kind of want to contribute what I've learned to the plant community, and continuing to learn. So today I am going to be sharing an issue that I had with my beautiful marble queen. So I bought this, I would say in March or April, before I decided to go with LECA, and it was the prettiest plant. If I can find a before picture, I'll put it in right now. And then I went to convert this one to LECA, and if you don't know, you have to take all the soil out of the roots, and there was very little soil because it was so root bound. Like, I've never seen a plant so root bound. So I had to pretty much cut most of the roots out, except for like the bigger ones, and I'll kind of show you what I mean. And it kind of freaked out the plant, and so I put it in LECA, and a week or two went by and the leaves started to wilt, like this one. And especially the ones with the variegation, those were struggling a little bit more than the more green leaves, like that. So I had to take it all out of LECA and really just try a bunch of different things. So I took off a couple of pieces and just tried propagating in water. And so actually, look at that. I have some roots. Now, how is this gonna help the plant? If you propagate something in water, it's a lot easier to convert it to LECA because it's kind of used to that atmosphere. So this one has a little bit, let's say a little point of growth. This one, not a lot, but I still may put it in there. So this little experiment worked. And again, this is all from one plant. This one, I just put a bunch of them in water, and let's just kind of see how they're working out. We got some water roots, and again, I just think water roots are gonna be just fine in LECA because it's a similar atmosphere, in my opinion. So yeah, this one's actually doing pretty good. Ooh, this one's not. So that one is actually, ooh, I was about to say I'm gonna throw it out, but I see a little point of growth right there, so I'm gonna keep that one. Okay, so this one's done pretty well. I'm just gonna throw those two out. Okay, so that was one of mine. Let me dump this water out real quick. And here's the container that I used. Let me let that stop. Here's the container that I used just to water propagate those. And I don't know that it's necessarily propagating because I didn't cut at each node. I just took it from LECA. I washed the roots, got rid of the roots that rotted, and then stuck it in water. And I've been changing that water out every 1 or 2 weeks. Okay, my next experiment is just a mixture of zoolite, lava rock, and pumice, I believe. This has a name. Let's choose upon, maybe? Okay, so I tried this out. I don't really know what it's been doing because I can't really see it. So let me get something to dump all of that in. Actually, I don't know why I got this. That's not gonna work very well. Let me get a strainer. Okay. So, okay, first thing is make sure that you have something in your sink before you do this, because you don't want all of these little rocks getting into your garbage disposal, because your husband will not be very happy with you. Okay. Ooh. So that actually did really well. And you can see there's still a little dirty, so I'm gonna have to wash that off. But that looks really good. Okay, so far putting it in that medium worked a lot better. And then I've got some roots I'm gonna have to throw out. Okay. And then for that one, I just used this little glass container that I got from Goodwill. And I'm just gonna put that to the side. I do suggest doing all of this outside as much as possible, but right now in Nashville, it's like 100 degrees. So I'll be doing all of this inside. Just be very careful. All right, and this is the last one, the biggest portion. And this one is actually in LECA, in nutrient water. And it's doing really well. So what I want to do is take all of these pieces and put them back together so that I have one beautiful big plant again. Can get that one out. So yeah, they're all gonna go back, be happy together. Okay, so this one I'm just going to gently take out of the LECA. And its roots look pretty happy, actually. I'm very happy with that. And something else that I've really enjoyed about LECA is I feel like I'm becoming a lot more familiar with the plants. Just seeing their different root systems and seeing how fast they grow. I really like it. So that's been one pro to this. All right, so now that I'm ready to technically repot, I want to do a couple of things. I want to pick out my little potting container. These I just reuse from plants that I buy from nurseries. I just clean them out. And I have a bigger one right here that I just cleaned. I actually don't think I'm gonna need that because you want to, like, I know this is a big plant, but that's a lot of space for those roots, and they don't need that much space. So I think I am gonna stick with this one. I want to pour out the LECA, and to do that, you're going to want something to catch all of the pieces that just start to scatter, because I'm telling you, these are not fun to step on, and I've done that many times. So recently I went to IKEA, and their little shopping bags that you can buy for $1, I realized is perfect for this. So I just put this up on my counter. I have a big old thing of just LECA that's ready to be used. There's a bunch of it in the bottom. And then a little kitchen utensil. So yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour out, probably easily. I'm gonna pour out about 2/3 of the LECA so that I'm left with about 1/3 left. And you may see these gashes. I did that on purpose because I felt like it didn't have enough drainage holes in it. I'm gonna rinse off this LECA real quick with hot water to kind of clean off anything, any of the old roots like that. So I'll be right back. Okay, and when you do that, the LECA does not stay in this pot. Like, I have about 20 pieces in my sink right now. So I'll just grab those up. Because another good thing about LECA is it's reusable, so you don't want to just throw these away. You can use those forever and ever. Just clean them between each plant. I start by taking pieces. And this is something that I would try to do, even though when you try to start splitting up the vines, that's where you start losing some leaves and losing a lot of roots. But I kind of needed to with this one because it just makes it easier to clean it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean the roots really quickly, and then I'll be right back. Okay, now comes the kind of fun but irritating part, is you get to put it all back together and kind of make it look the way that you want. So like these smaller pieces, it's like putting together a bouquet. So these smaller pieces, I'm probably gonna put more towards the center to kind of fill out the middle. But I also kind of hate this part because I feel like the natural way that it comes when you buy it is just so pretty, but it's hard to keep that when you're taking the plant apart. Okay. And again, I could keep this as many different plants, but I don't want to. I want my one big, beautiful, trailing marble queen. Okay, so, and I'm actually not gonna set it in there yet. I'm gonna get it kind of how I want it to look. And this one's gonna wanna be on the end. I may put all the trailing pieces kind of close to each other. God, I was so heartbroken when I saw that these leaves were all wilting and the roots were so rotten. And that's why I tried out my, different little experiments. And I mean, it seems like it's gonna work. So now I'm gonna put it back in LECA, hope for the best. Okay, do I want it all coming out one side or kind of two sides? I think I want it, yeah, it will spread out more. And I hope you can see this. Okay, so now I'm gonna take the spoon with the LECA, and I'm just gonna start spooning it. Oh, I mean, this is like defeating the whole purpose of this bag. You should put this in the bag. Because as you spoon the LECA, it's going to be everywhere. So I'm gonna do this real quick. Okay, so this happens sometimes. As I'm putting the LECA in, I'm trying to hold the plant down, but really I think I'm just like putting LECA in, pulling plant up. So I've got roots just like exposed. So I'm gonna do this again. This happens, and I mean, it doesn't take very long to fix. Start at the 1/3 section. Maybe I will try to just place pieces in. And the thing about it is, like, the trailing pieces, like here's a root. You've got some little roots that want to attach to something. So it's hard to determine, like, how much of that do I want to put in the LECA. So for this one, I'm going to put, like, this bottom node. Make sure that's covered with LECA. And for this attempt, I'm gonna actually put in all the bigger pieces because it's all just trial and error. And that's kind of the fun part about it. Okay, now I'm going to take all the little pieces and stick them in the front and middle portion. Okay, now let's try it again. I actually may just try dumping LECA on it, maybe. I think I will. Not with that. Where'd my little one go? Oh. And I usually keep a small one around just to kind of dig it up. Okay, so I'm just kind of going through it, making sure that all the roots are covered. And like, be careful doing this, but also I've learned that plants can take a little bit more manhandling than you think. Okay, so when I get to this point, clean yourself off a little bit. You may say, well, you cleaned like the first third of the LECA, but the last 2/3 I just kind of got from this bag, which I do try to make sure that all of this has been rinsed, because LECA, when you get it out of the bag, you're gonna have a lot of that clay powder. So I have rinsed it, but what I do is I take my plant and let's see how it looks. Okay. Oh, and pieces are falling everywhere. Actually, I think that looks really good, having it come up there, down there, and then you have kind of like this middle part right here. I think that looks really good. So what I do now is I put it in the sink and I rinse it. And I'm mainly focusing on rinsing the LECA because the leaves should be fine. Use cold water when you're, well, not too cold. Use room temperature water. You don't want it to be too cold because it's going to freak it out. Even though, like, that's what I've been told, but I use cold water and it's fine. But do not use hot water. That would not be good. You don't want to burn it. Okay, and I just had a little one come out, so I'm just gonna stick it back in there. Let it find its way. Okay, so I am going to take the cover pot, which is, oh no, that's way too much. It already has nutrient water in there. I don't know if you can see it. But I've put way too much in there. So I'm gonna dump some of that out. It's kind of dirty too. So if you don't know, you want your nutrient water to be about 1/3 of the way. And that's why you, at the beginning, put a 1/3 layer of LECA down. You want those to be the same. And then ideally your roots are up here. And then it just uses capillary action to give the roots and the leaves all of the nutrients that it needs. So let's do that. I'm gonna dump a little bit of this out. Oh, actually, I think I know why there was so much. This doesn't go all the way to the bottom. So this is one of the most annoying parts for me when you're using the cover pot, is determining if you're at the 1/3 mark. So I'm gonna take some nutrient water that I have from my last flush day, and I'm going to put it in there. Okay, now let's see. Okay, there we go. And now you just clean up. So what do I hope will happen now is this plant will be happy as one again. It will start to trail, because I did lose a lot of this plant. And I think the reason this one has had such a hard time is I'm noticing that established vining plants, pothos, philodendrons, I mean, really, that's because my Hoyas haven't had an issue, but really established ones that have super long vines, those are the ones that are struggling for me. And it's not that you shouldn't put Pothos in LECA, because I have smaller, less established ones that are doing just fine. So that is the only thing that I've run into with LECA, the only issue really. And I'll be making more videos about my experience because there's so much. So I'll be doing, you know, the supplies that I use, the nutrients, take you through all the plants that I have. Because yeah, I'm looking at this Scindapsus pictus that was so pretty. But again, it had like 3-foot trails and it just is not doing so well. But then I have a smaller Scindapsus pictus that's doing just fine. So I think it's just like, it's freaking out at the roots, and so it doesn't know what to do with all of its, you know, 4-foot vines and whatnot. But again, I'm no expert. This is just what I've run into. Anything else? No, I think that's it. So again, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.